Welcome to another video in the series Inventory Management. In this video, we will understand the basic and fundamental concepts of inventory. So the first question is, what is inventory? Now, inventory can be defined in different ways, but one of the generic definitions is that inventory is the stock of idle resources in a firm for future use. Now, different organizations can have different types of inventories. In a typical manufacturing organization, the inventory can be, let's say, raw material, components, sub-assemblies, semi-finished goods, this is also known as work in progress, and it can also be finished goods. Let us look at a simplified pictorial view of these inventories. Now, as you can see in this picture, this is a nut and bolt manufacturing plant. So there has to be a supplier for this manufacturing plant. Now the supplier provides the raw materials. So once the raw material is procured by the manufacturing plant, this becomes the raw material inventory. Now there are different components which will be manufactured, like this is one component, this is another component. Now these components are being manufactured, and this is kind of a work in progress, semi-finished product. Then finally, this is the finished product in the manufacturing plant. This will also form a sort of inventory till it is shipped to the distribution center. Distribution center will keep this as inventory, and then finally the distribution center will then move these products to the retailer, and then the retailer will keep this inventory till all the consumers buy this. Now, hospitals carry inventory such as syringes, glucose bottles, bandages, cotton, etc. In an IT organization, manpower is the inventory, which is typically also known as bench when the people are not on a billable project. And this bench people are the ones who will be available to be deployed on any project as the demand arises. Now the question is, why do we need inventory, and is it good or bad for an organization? Now first let us understand, why is inventory maintained by organizations? So let's say you are running a garment retail store and you are preparing for a festival, let's say Diwali or Christmas. Now you need to decide how many shirts of type X and how many pants or trousers of type Y are needed to be bought by you to keep it in the store. So what you will do is, first you will forecast the number based on the past few years of sales and also keeping the current economic situation in mind. So let's say you decide to stock 50 shirts and 50 trousers. So this is the inventory that you have decided to keep. So if I plot this in a graph, let's say this is your quantity of inventory and let's say this is time. I mean, we'll make a simplistic graph to understand, and let's say you decide to stock 50. This is 50 shirts / trousers. So this is your stock. Now let's say the demand this year is higher than 50. So let's say the demand is of 60. This is the demand. Now what happens is that you have lost the opportunity to sell this 10 quantity, and you lose money on this 10 quantity because you did not have this material in stock, and so you could not sell it, so you could not make money on this 10 items. So this is known as a stock out situation. And in addition to losing money for this 10, what has happened is that the customers who were not able to buy at your store may start going to other retail stores, and you may lose them forever. Now, on the contrary, if you had stocked 50 and the actual demand turns out to be 40, so this 10 is where you have excess inventory than the demand. So this is excess inventory. So this excess inventory will be unsold. You will not be able to sell because there is no demand, and you will end up losing money on the excess inventory because you have already spent money to buy this excess inventory. So you have spent money to buy, but you are not able to sell. So you are losing money on that, and eventually you may end up selling this at a much lower cost. The excess 10 you may end up selling at a much lower cost than what you had bought it for. So eventually you may lose money because of excess inventory. Also, in case of excess inventory, you end up tying the funds, and if you have bought it on a loan, then you are losing on the interest. Therefore, the inventory of an item should neither be too high nor be too low. It should be optimal. Which means that it is just at the best possible level. So now there are two main questions that need to be addressed for managing inventory. First question is how much to order from the supplier, right? So you want to have optimal inventory. So how much should be the quantity that you order from the supplier? And the second question is when should the order be placed? Because if you have inventory and you go ahead and order another lot from the supplier, then you will have excess inventory for a certain period of time. So when should the order be placed and how much to order from the supplier? Now there are various inventory management models that can help in answering these questions, which we will see in the subsequent videos.